To many people, furries are considered the worst of the worst when it comes to all of the different types of fandoms out there in the world. This fandom is constantly being depicted as these strange animal-humping people, and for the longest time I agreed. I thought they were just weird. Which is ironic really, because I've considered myself a furry for like 2 or 3 years now. However, I am actually very happy that my mind has really changed. Over the course of last week, I made the very long, over 1,000 mile trip all the way down to Orlando, Florida. This trip was my boyfriend and I's last big trip before he heads off to college, but while planning the trip, we decided to pick up some tickets to Megaplex. Now, Megaplex is one of the biggest furry conventions in all of the United States, and if I'm correct, it is only surpassed by Anthrocon, which takes place up here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Now, honestly, we never even planned on taking ourselves seriously here. I mean, we didn't even go until Friday night when most of the stuff was closed up and it was all just this 18 up stuff, and most of the people were already gone. My boyfriend and a friend of ours just mostly joked around the entire time. We weren't really serious about it, but the following day was definitely a lot better. I think we got there around lunchtime, and as soon as we entered the building, we were being told to clear this big pathway because there was just this huge parade of furries just marching down this hallway, and we were not expecting it at all, so we were just completely taken back. There was honestly a lot of cool and unique fursuits in that parade and just the entire convention in general. I saw about 3 protogens there, and they're really cool to see in person. This one guy had this giant like costume on stilts. It wasn't even a fursuit, it was just this giant cool like creature. It was so cool. I've definitely seen something similar in a video before, but that doesn't mean it wasn't still cool. It was like freaking awesome. I would not have the time or patience to make something like that, and it just had a different color pattern. It was different. It was really cool. And right after this, we went to this little room area where I think it was called the Artist Den or something, where these artists could set up their little tables and they could advertise themselves. And the very first guy we run into there changed our opinion on furries completely. For context, my boyfriend and I have never talked to or even really seen any furries in person before this. So up to this point, we've been kind of awkward and kind of just like goofing around most of the time. But this guy was so nice. We were literally standing behind someone at a stand. We were just like looking at the stuff, and he he told us to come over. He was like, "Don't be shy, just come over here." And he left a really amazing first impression. Well, not first impression. The staff we talked to the night before though were kind of short with us, and this was like the first furry we actually were able to hold a conversation with. But it was definitely different. Gave us a better outlook on furries in general, and it just only went uphill from there. I forget the first guy's name, and I'm so sorry, but I know his Twitter user is EasyDBud, and I got one of the cutest magnets and one of the cutest stickers ever from him. I freaking love them. They're so awesome. After that, we went to this thing called the Dealer's Den, and while we were waiting in line, my boyfriend and I both agreed that we were having a much better time than we thought we really would. We met a ton more nice people in there as well. One person we met was donating 50% of all of her sales to an animal support group, and surprisingly enough, that group was actually there at the convention. And even better is the fact that we actually got to hold a skunk. It was so unbelievably cute. Oh my god, I can't get over it still. While we were waiting to hold the skunk, we were talking to one of the guys there that actually worked for the animal support group, and apparently they've been going to these conventions for over like 10 years, which was insane. And we were really curious to find out like if they found it weird at all seeing like people dressed up as animals and having real animals here, if that made them like weirded out or anything. And the guy there that we asked actually said no. Furries will actually apparently donate more money and in larger amounts to animal support groups, which is freaking awesome. He said he thinks that furries will actually have more of a connection with the actual animal than like an average human. And yeah, I totally see that. I totally get it. It wasn't the answer I was expecting, but it was the answer I needed to hear. And to further back up his point, there was a big donation jar there, which was nearly overflowing with $5 bills and $10 bills, which was insane. Like, it was more money in a donation jar than I've ever seen for like any sort of group, and I loved it. It was definitely reassuring and definitely told me that, hey, furries don't just see animals as like these sexual objects like people portray them as doing. We also did some other cool things, such as go to this little like concert, little party thing on Friday night, and we were also going to do an escape room as well as this VR thing. However, we got really hungry, and since we weren't actually staying at that specific hotel, we couldn't actually get any food. We ended up leaving early and actually going out to dinner pretty early, and instead of going back to the convention, we went to go see the new Suicide Squad movie instead, which was really good. But in the end, I think the convention was amazing. I had genuine fun basically the entire time I was there, and I truly want to do another convention like this very soon. It was so much fun, and it really changed how I saw the entire furry community as a whole. Yes, there was still the stereotypical negative stuff that people always point to, such such as some overly sexualized fursuits, people like barking at each other, but that was very few and far between. Honestly, I barely saw any of that. The stuff people always mock is such a small fraction of the community, and honestly this experience really showed that to me. For the most part, I personally really didn't care what people were wearing. Like, personally, my honest beliefs are just do whatever you want to do. If you're an adult, just don't force it on other people, obviously. The only real issue I had throughout this entire convention is when I saw kids that weren't actually like teenagers yet there, and that made me a little concerned. But you know, as long as they're not being hurt, for the most part, I think it's fine. Something I'm really happy they did here is that they blocked off the entire like section where there was the 18 up stuff. So basically, if you weren't even 18 or over, you couldn't even go into the hallway where all that stuff was taking place, which I really liked. And it's not like you could even lie about it, because you have to check your ID when you register. And if your little name tag had a red bar on it, that means you were under 18, and so you couldn't go into those 18 up activities, which I liked. The passes you actually get from the convention are actually a lot of fun, because you can put your persona on it, and you can put your own name on it and everything. You can like customize it when you register, but since I don't have a persona, I had to put my dumbass dog on it. So every time people looked at my pass, they just saw Murphy's dumb little face. But yeah, I think the separation between the adult stuff and the non-adult stuff was really well handled. Honestly, I could go on and on about talking about this experience because I just had so much fun. This convention absolutely made me more of a furry than I was before, and I think it's mainly because this really helped me feel more comfortable with it. I feel a lot more expressive and more comfortable with being more open about this community and this interest that I actually really like. Obviously, I still can't be like fully open about it. I mean, I just came out as gay to my family like this year, so yeah, I'll definitely be giving it some time, being that my family is the type of people who see furries as these people who just hump like animals still, you know. And I can't blame them, because what the media decides to report on furries is not the greatest. And I would never take my family to one of these conventions, but honestly, I just wish I could explain to them what I saw there and how I felt. It was just so different. Like, I felt really comfortable there, and I really wasn't expecting that. At Megaplex, this was the very first time I actually ever saw an actual fursuit, like, in real life. And at first, I definitely felt like awkward and a little scared, but like after a while I definitely really got comfortable with it. Hell, I'm actually the reason why we went back the second day anyways, because I really wanted to go back. I don't know why, I just had the strongest urge ever to go back there again. And in all honesty, thank God we did. We had so much fun, it was unbelievable. But yeah, in conclusion, this was a really mind-opening experience, honestly. And again, this really helped me feel more comfortable with like accepting the things I like to do, as well as the things I just have a massive interest in. It just makes me feel more open now and willing to try like more of these kind of things. Definitely 100% going to be going to one of these conventions again in the future, and hopefully the near future. I mean, for fuck's sake, my boyfriend and I are already planning on going to the 2022 Megaplex. From what I can tell, the next one's going to be a retro like vaporwave kind of thing next time, and that's going to be really cool, I think. Plus, by next year I should already be living in Florida, so I won't have to drive another 2,000 miles in 1 week, because that sucked and I never want to do that again. Thank you very much. But yeah, can't wait for the next one. I'm really excited, and I'm extremely glad that my mind is now more open to this community now. Oh, also, I saw Sonic Fox at the convention. We tried to get a picture with him, but I kind of forgot that we once got into a Twitter argument, and I'm pretty sure he blocked me. But nonetheless, still cool to see him. We were walking down the hallway, and he walked right by us, and I literally stopped in my tracks, and I was like, no fucking way. But yeah, definitely had one hell of a time.